What happens is little flashes of memory. I try not to think about it, but I remember exact times. For example, my dressage was at 9:01, and my cross-country start time was 3:01. It was a very hot, very humid, very lethargic day. And I remember vaguely just a sense that things weren't really in the groove.
Doctors have confirmed today that the actor Christopher Reeve has been paralyzed and needs a respirator to breathe. He broke his neck after being thrown by a horse during a show jumping competition. The doctors will not speculate on whether the paralysis may be permanent.
Well, today is May 27th, 2001, and it's the 6th anniversary of my accident. It seems hard to believe that 6 years have gone by.
It's their 13th year.
Sometimes it seems like it's been an eternity, sometimes it seems very short.
Totally, yeah. Look at it. I need my license.
Well, the problem with Chris, he has an injury to his spinal cord at a high level in his neck, at a level that affects all of the cables coming down from the brain to control the body and vice versa. All the sensory information coming up from the body to the brain is really disconnected. And that occurred because of a traumatic injury. A fracture at C1, C2, which are the two highest vertebral bones in the neck. Most people that have that level of injury don't survive the accident because breathing's affected. It's very common, but almost no one lives through it.
I was incredibly lucky to survive, but because I breathe on a ventilator, I have to have a nurse on duty 24 hours a day.
Where's the spine?
I know, that's my spine. Yeah. Of course, the running joke is that I appreciate all of you, but I can't wait until the date comes when I can fire all of you. And we joke about that, although I feel that some of the nurses and staff that will be friends for a very long time, no matter what happens. This is the part I'll miss when I walk in.
Yeah, really. At least twice a day.
But maybe you'll come over anyway.
I'll come over, for...
Dolly Arrow, who's from the Philippines, has become the head nurse.
And shoes?
I mean, she is worth her weight in gold. In fact, I would like to confiscate her passport so she can't ever go home again. Well, currently my medical condition is better than it's been the entire time I've been injured. Although one thing that's kind of shocking to me is that all of a sudden most of my hair disappeared. The very drug we were supposedly using to keep my hair from falling out was in fact causing it to fall out. But it'll grow back because this is not age or hair loss. Your feet seem very far away.
You are very low.
Hello down there. Whatever body needs to shove to the right.
And this is what you say.
One of the real losses is the loss of independence, and I was always an incredibly independent person. I loved to spend time alone, and that's been very, very hard because literally for 6 years now, I have never once ever been able to be alone. And to be a grown man has to be washed and dressed and fed by other people. It's just a kind of a cruel irony that somebody, I love to sail alone, and I even flew my airplane across the Atlantic alone. Yeah, that's true, okay. Now I can't even go out in the driveway by myself.
No, although you can get cars that do that. No, I need one of those for the next car.
No,
yes.
it tells you what to do.
Yes, no, it does. It says, proceed, to the corner and turn right. And it tells you in a gentle way.
As opposed to me.
As opposed to right.
When Dana and I got married, I really felt that, things are on the right track, and You know, life was stable.
It's all right.
But when I remember the first thing I said to her was that I'd really pushed the marriage vows to the limit. You know, in sickness and in health, this wasn't what we had in mind.
We'd only been married for 3 years when Chris had his accident. It was stressful. It was hard because I was caring for my husband and in a territory that I really knew not that much about.
She's just been there. And, you know, we talk about it sometimes. She doesn't let me go into the realm of how different things would have been. You know, she's really great at steering me away from that. My two oldest kids, Matthew and Alexandra, were born when I lived in London with their mother, Gay Exton, and they were only 15 and 11 when I was injured, and that is a really lousy time to lose a dad.
But I mean, she looks the best out of all of us.
You ended up with half a dog, right?
Yeah, sorted.
Great.
Have you ever been to Northford, Connecticut?
Northford. I'd be very interested to find out where that is.
I wonder if it's big enough to show up on the globe.
No. But it's not quite as bad for my youngest son, Will. He was only 2 when I had my accident, and for most of his life, this is the only way he's known me.
I like that guy.
I felt very guilty. It's okay to make your own mess, as long as it doesn't get in the way of other people.
I like that one myself the best. There's something about it, just, you know, because it's supposed to have someone in it.
Well, it's like leaving the chair behind, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that the first thing I discovered was that there was no use in punishing myself. And I could also tell right away that they'd rather have me around than not. Then, frankly, that helped me put away thoughts of suicide. Because certainly the first thought was I should go. That I would just be too much trouble for everybody. Dr. John McDonald runs one of the leading spinal cord injury centers at Washington University in St. Louis.
This is the primary reason why you're having difficulty breathing. When I first met Chris, 5 years after his injury, he had no movement or sensation really below the level of his injury, meaning that he basically recovered no function. And previous studies would suggest is that that person doesn't stand a chance. The most important thing is just keeping your own body fit, maintaining the muscles, maintaining the nervous system. And Chris has been doing that. He works hard at that every day, right? He spends 4 to 5 hours a day doing that.
Ramping it up here.
Gonna make you work. Get that stretch.
I guess by doing that somehow the body's natural desire to heal itself and the ability of the mind has to affect the body, those things, they work in mysterious ways, but they're working now for me. And it began more than 5 years after the injury. And the first thing that I suddenly was able to do out of nowhere, I was able to move my index finger.
I could not believe that he could do that. I mean, nobody, it's not supposed to happen.
He was explaining something like this, where you would normally gesture. And I was noticing that when he would do it, he would go, his finger would move. And he said, I think I can make that happen. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, right. Okay, I can make that happen. And he actually commanded his finger, and he said, move. And it moved. And he would say, move, and it would move.
And I built on that, and from that time, it's expanded into a much larger range of movements and exercises that I've been able to do.
Go. I mean, he's already made more progress than even I would have ever predicted, based on the therapies that we've been providing. Pretty much no one else would probably even believe that he's had this recovery. That's the magnitude of the impact that this has.
So squeeze, 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 squeeze,
Dr.
squeeze.
McDonald was so amazed by the finger movement that he began a study to see how much more I could accomplish with exercise.
Okay, now I'll try to push the forearm down.
First, I hope to get off the ventilator, and then to get control of bladder and bowels and sexual function, and then that would be the basis for being able to recover and get up and walk.
Pull, pull, pull. Pull it down. Pull, 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 pull. Pull, pull, pull. That's it. Now squeeze back. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And relax.
The most difficult thing to cope with over the last 6 years is simply the loss of physical contact with the human race. When I think about it, not to have, made love for 6 years is almost unbelievable. The fact that Will, who was almost 3 when I was hurt, he's never had a hug from me since. He's almost 9 now. And even down to just a handshake with someone, that really is the biggest loss out of all this.
But I gotta tell you, your pitching is really steady, really nice.
Cut out that part of me striking out.
I went back to St. Louis a few months later for another evaluation by Dr. McDonald.
Are we filming this? Just kick him over. That's the initial push that I wanted to show you.
The most impressive thing is on camera the beginning, because it's just, you can see the muscle contract.
That's why I wanted to show you the sudden innervation.
Try to extend that first finger again. Now try to lift it up. The first thing we do is we do an Asia examination, which is the gold standard in the field. And you basically assess motor function in the arms and the legs, how well you can move. I want you to try to go like this. And then sensation to both light touch and pinprick throughout the entire body. And this is 2.
The end of the second one felt like it was sharp.
Since we've initiated that program, Chris has really recovered substantial function. First finger. Good. Thumb. Good. Middle finger. And he's moved from an Asia A classification to an Asia C classification. And this is on a scale from A to E, where E is normal. A is someone who has no function below the level of the injury. So initially, Chris was classified for the first 5 years as an Asia A. It's really never been reported someone having such a delayed recovery. So 5 years after the injury, all of a sudden to start changing Asia classifications is just really unheard of.
We do functional MRI testing to see where the movement's coming from.
So this is the left side, this is the right side of the brain, this is the front, this is the back.
The good news is that, for example, the command to move my finger has been proven to come from the correct part of the brain. The next step was to try something radically different.
Man, that's hot in your room.
I hadn't been in a swimming pool since 1995. I've always been at home in the water as a scuba diver. I sailed all my life. I love the water. It's something that I've really missed.
No surf today.
Why we use a pool in rehabilitation is that essentially it takes gravity out of the equation. So a lot of Chris's movements can be easily visualized and practiced in a pool that you can't do, with normal gravity involved. He's never had an opportunity to ever be in a pool. Psychologically, it's an amazing thing to be able to be in there.
The clear trips are longer than that. Who would have thought that, Christopher Reeve, a person who is vein-dependent, quadriplegic, could go in the pool and do exercise? There was never any meeting as to how we would do it. We just did it.
Okay, Chris?
It's been a while.
1995.
1995, huh? We're going to sway a little bit, loosen you up, okay?
That's nice. What was really remarkable was their staff in St. Louis asked me and our staff, what do you want to do? So we said, well, let's see what happens if I sit and see if I can kick my legs. What was remarkable is that I kicked both legs in spite of the fact that I had 5-pound ankle weights on each leg.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. The first time that we saw him move his legs, you know right there that just a little help from science for a cure is that these people like Chris could really walk, get out of their chairs and lead a normal life again.
What I deeply appreciated about it is that over the last 5.5 years I've been exercising and I've gotten movement just by trying things, trying to move my legs, trying to move my arms, trying to breathe. And I'm very grateful that Dr. McDonald and his staff were willing to help me go further rather than saying, no, you're on a ventilator, you're a high risk, what if something happens? You know, what if we're the people who drowned Christopher Reeve? Well, world reaction might be mixed, you know, 50% for and 50% against. Good, you finally finished him off, that'll shut him up.
Push. One more. Push. Yeah, I like that. That's better. I was very encouraged by what happened in St. Louis, but I know that a full recovery will require a combination of exercise and science. And I think the most promising approach to a cure is the use of stem cells. And while some conditions can be treated by adult stem cells, my hopes are pinned on cells derived from human embryos, which is a very controversial issue.
President Bush is about to address the nation and announce what may be the most important decision of his young presidency. It is certainly the most controversial.
Embryonic stem cell research offers both great promise and great peril. So I have decided we must proceed with great care.
Stem cells hold a lot of promise for medical research. Scientists say they can potentially manipulate these cells to be almost anything and attack disease in many parts of the body.
This is very, very painful to me because I believe that if we'd had full government funding of embryonic stem cells, then done the research right when they were discovered, by now we might be in human trials. And instead, the whole thing's just a political football being kicked around. Today, on my 49th birthday, I'm really glad that all three of my, I was going to say kids, but I can't say it anymore, because two are so grown up that it's frightening. And then there's one little one, Will, runs around, and he's a kid. Not exactly aerobic exercise. We're going to have sushi, we're going to hang out, and we're going to enjoy being together, and that is present enough for me. That's all I need.
Happy birthday, dear Daddy. Happy birthday to you. I don't think you would have blow all these out.
Oh my God, if I can
Some of them are sparkling.
They catch on fire.
If you blow one out, we'll do the rest. One a little closer. Oh, yay! Okay.
I guess I perceive myself as a person who's been given a position of responsibility that is important, but I must admit is sometimes unwanted. I realize that I'm in a position to make a contribution.
Resolve to move forward, and the Christopher Reeve Paralysis Foundation remains steadfast and passionate in its mission to find a cure for paralysis caused by spinal cord injury.
When we're able to help out with legislation, or we're able to use the media to bring awareness to the public about what's going on in terms of research, when we're able to give people hope, and tell them not to despair, that help is on the way, and that justifies the whole experience and keeps me from being selfish about it.
And will turn promising laboratory findings into treatments. There will be a cure for spinal cord injury soon.
I have no doubt that day will come, but in the meantime, I have to continue with the routines of daily life.
1, 2, 3. Very good.
The psychologist told me very early on that was really try very hard not to make your wife have to become your nurse or your mother. You know, we made this commitment, and it's still just as strong, if not stronger. And we just look forward and keep going.
Chris is mostly housebound in the winter time because it's cold. He is on a ventilator 24 hours a day. He is always susceptible to pneumonia, to colds, flu, any kind of upper respiratory tract infection.
Well, it seems that all the work I'm doing is keeping me healthier this winter, and I'm able to ride this bike by means of electrodes placed on my legs, and they stimulate the muscles that make me push the pedals with a little help from an assistant. This is great for circulation and also to elevate my heart rate. Our goal is to get it up into the 90s to get a cardiovascular workout. And this motion has helped my ability to move my legs on land and in the pool. And this really is something that, you know, that everybody who's paralyzed should have to this motion. It's really, really good therapy. 9.5 miles. Heart rate's up. And psychologically as well as physically, you know, to know that you're not just spending your life sitting still. After the success of my first session in St. Louis, I began using the pool at a rehab center near my home. And with each session, I improved, but nothing could have prepared me emotionally for what happened next in St. Louis. I just looked down at my feet, and I willed my quadriceps and hamstrings to step forward. My legs remembered how to walk, and I stepped. And then the assistants merely placed my feet on the pool bottom so I wouldn't twist an ankle.
You know, you can see him almost standing, you know, in the water, using his quads and glutes to stand. It's a huge difference. You can see he's not about to give up.
That was an incredible experience for me. The fact that I actually took steps forward, even though I needed a lot of assistance, reaffirmed my belief that I am going to walk again. I've been a Rangers fan since I was a kid, and it's great to have them and some celebrities help us raise money for the foundation. And this year's event is really special because Will's playing and Dana's singing.
Second row backhand. Blackburn's down. Oh! Chris Jericho is on for the blue team. Whoa!
For the first time, we had the celebrities, and we had kids, and we had the real Rangers all playing together, and that was just the best.
The thing that I didn't like is that they didn't let us play in the game.
Yeah, well.
And also that they gave a goal to the blue team for being nice.
A nice guy, yeah. That's,
I know, and then they go to the shootout, and then last year blue team won, this year white, next year blue.
it's rigged, yeah.
But it was good. That was great fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, still, it's not.
Yeah, it's good.
You should load. I'm gonna leave.
Yep, I gotta go. Okay. I gotta go.
Diana? You know that you have your stuff.
Yes, I know.
Today, Dr. McDonald wants to see if there's been any further recovery of motion. But tomorrow, I'm going to face a major test to evaluate my breathing and to see if my diaphragm's strong enough to get me off the vent.
There you go. Oh, much faster. That's much stronger than it was the last time you were here. Feel that?
Yeah.
Feel that?
Yeah.
The sensation now is about 70% of normal, so he can really feel throughout his entire body. And then the biggest surprise is that he's really had a big jump in his ability to move muscles. God, if anything, it's made me even stronger on this side.
And he's doing nothing to help me. He never does.
That's so true.
Obviously tells you that.
So that was really a tremendous leap forward compared to the previous 6 months, where at first things occurred relatively slow for the amount of input, and now it's really starting to take off. Okay. This compared to this.
100%.
This. This.
It's the same.
This. What the old studies show is that most of the recovery is going to occur in the first 6 months, or all your recovery is going to occur in the first 2 years, and you're never going to recover anything. Chris's story is going to mean a great deal of hope. Nobody in the world has recovered more than one grade on this Asia classification, more than 2.5 years out from an injury. Nobody. So Chris changed 2 Asia grades 6 years out from his injury.
Yeah, that's about the usual speed.
That's a big difference. I mean, there's a huge difference. You know, I think all bets are off in terms of how much he can recover and how fast. You know, now I really want to see him sit, because he is really doing that on his own.
I'm very lucky to have a support team of not only the nurses but the aides, and the aides have to do a lot of different things. Chris Fantini has been around for many, many years.
He's starting to see things that we really didn't think were possible. And maybe it's because nobody in his condition ever worked that hard for this long. So there's no precedent to understand what's going on.
Open them up. Open them up. That's it. Open them up. Open them up.
The really special thing is that it's not just about lifting me or getting me dressed.
Keep going.
They really are buddies. They're really friends. They're people that I can talk to.
Yeah, go back, come on.
You know, when you can't be alone ever, it's kind of important who you choose to have around you.
I look forward to the day where I don't have to see him on a daily basis to help him get out of bed.
Pull, 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 pull.
If he didn't need me tomorrow, I couldn't be happier. And if there's anybody that's going to get out of this, it's him.
Pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. All right, pull, 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 pull. That's it, Chris. Good. Good, good. Squeeze your shoulder blades back. Squeeze them back.
Come on, lift your
Squeeze
head,
them,
lift your
squeeze them,
head.
squeeze them, squeeze them, squeeze them.
If my diaphragm's strong enough that I can get off the vent, that'll change my life dramatically.
Try to cough.
I was hoping that we'd find some response from diaphragm when we stimulated the nerve. We didn't. The reason may be that you may have just a few units there that are very small to the point that we may not record them on the screen. We don't know whether that's the case or not.
Right.
So that's what we found. I didn't have to tell you what about.
No, I understand. Okay, well, thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Having the potential opportunity of coming off the ventilator is just so big that, you know, this is really a crushing blow. And you know, I think everything he's saying, it's just going to keep going like that.
Okay, well, my immediate concern is what to do.
You want to get out?
What to do to
you want to get out?
start to get some diaphragm strength back.
Okay.
I mean, is that breathing technique that I'm using wrong? Is that not?
No, it's not wrong.
Is that not working the diaphragm?
Don't rely too much on negative data. The fact that this is negative, we can't interpret that. You know, so we need to look at the positive.
It scares the hell out of me, I'll tell you that.
But it's clear that you have a lot of function. So the
diaphragm function?
Yeah. So the question is, do you have?
So why did it not show up on the test? No.
We know that you don't have as many nerves there as you did before.
Once the diaphragm's dead, it doesn't come back.
Yeah. So
this is, you know, we're at a scary level. There are those moments when I go, man, how'd this happen? Then I don't care about all this noble stuff. I want it back. I want my life back. Then I get mad at myself for being self-pitying. But sometimes I get so jealous, just literally seeing somebody get up out of a chair and walk across the room. And I know they're not even thinking about it, but I'm watching and going, God, how did it happen? I can't even do that. I mean, how can this be my life? After failing the diaphragm test, I've started new breathing exercises, and recent exams have shown that the diaphragm is now working and getting stronger. But I still need help from science. Just in the last year, researchers have made remarkable progress with nucleus transplantation, which is also known as therapeutic cloning, in which, for example, my DNA would be put into an unfertilized egg, which would never become a human being, but would produce stem cells that would become new nerves that wouldn't be rejected by my body. Too much to watch. The Senate hearing has everything to do with whether or not therapeutic cloning will be allowed in the states. It's been banned already in the House. It gets banned in the Senate. Well, it's going to be a huge setback for science. And there's a bill, and it would make even going abroad to be treated using therapeutic cloning illegal. So I could go to the UK, be cured, come back walking, and get arrested at the airport. How absurd is that?
And this is the most important thing ever, I think, because it's about cure. It is about, means that he can or can't walk.
The eyebrows, I'm constantly trying to, get them to match.
What I would like to say to anybody who's an opponent of the best available research, just to spend 1 hour in a wheelchair.
We're not going for the outside, are we?
1 hour without moving, and that means no scratching your nose, not being able to move a thing. Just try it for 1 hour and then see how you feel.
We must not confuse human cloning with regenerative medicine. One creates a person and should be banned. The other provides a cure and deserves our strong support.
Creating human life simply for the purpose of destroying it is immoral, it's unethical, and it should be illegal. In this brave new world, women's eggs and wombs would be commodities potentially sold to the highest bidder. A complete ban on human cloning is the only way to preserve the dignity of women and protect them from being exploited.
It would be grotesque, in my opinion, to prevent this fundamental medical procedure of taking a cell from a person and putting it in an egg and using the stem cells to cure cancer or heart disease or Parkinson's or delay Alzheimer's.
For the record, I'm a C2 ventilator-dependent quadriplegic. And that means that I'm paralyzed from the shoulders down and unable to breathe on my own for the last 7 years. I've not been able to eat, wash, go to the bathroom, or get dressed by myself. Now, some people are able to accept living with a severe disability. I am not one of them. Therapeutic cloning is done without fertilizing an egg. It can be strictly regulated. If we also enforce an absolute ban on reproductive cloning, we will not slide down that dreaded slippery slope into moral and ethical chaos. Today, 100 million Americans suffer from serious or currently incurable diseases. 54 million Americans are disabled. Our government's supposed to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people.
Motion rephrased. We have a salad, mozzarella salad, and chicken, which I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with yet. Looking good, right?
People get up, and it's like he looks like totally, frustrated.
Do you want tomato in the salad?
Yeah,
or what?
like.
What are you doing? You're in the bathroom or something? Where are you?
Holding a chicken in kindergarten.
Holding a chicken. People often ask me, how do I keep motivated and how do I keep my spirits up? Well, I have to be honest and say they're not always up. The most disabling thing about being disabled is a feeling of hopelessness that you can't make any difference, and that your situation won't change, unfortunately. That's not my state of mind. No, I have to admit that keeping really busy is crucial. I think maybe after a sign of progress, we need a new paragraph there. I'm writing a book about my perspective 7 years after the injury. There's a lot of political content in it, so this is not a self-help feel-good book. All there is fun and humor and parenting and spirituality, and there's also hard-hitting stuff on advocacy. No politics, recovery. Okay, that's the ball game. Done.
Save it. Because that would count.
Done, done, done.
Gone to ruin by a girl called Abigail. It gets a little dirtier after that, so I'm not gonna.
That's great. It's hilarious.
We're going to the launch of Christopher and Dana Reeve Paralysis Resource Center.
My negotiator for top billing.
He gets top billing.
And we argue about it. Yeah, we fight about it.
About 7 years ago, my husband had his accident, and we knew that we had a need for a lot of questions to be answered. We had no idea what resources were out there when you had a spinal cord injury, when you were faced with a long-term paralysis situation.
I've got to say that the gratitude we're hearing from people for this resource center, the anticipation, the excitement, is very gratifying and overwhelming, and the fact that we'll be able to serve people nationwide makes us very proud.
I'm in the worst lane, and I feel like, though, I need to be.
You're in the right lane.
I do, I do. He hates when people get lost. Right. Because he can't understand that as a concept.
Yeah, I know.
We are going north, aren't we? Yes. Don't we go north?
Yeah, we should be.
right? New Jersey is south of New York. I want you to weigh in on this one, Toph.
I'm dying back here.
Oh, it's all too much for me.
I've been traveling all over the country since 1996, and I've spoken to every kind of group, from rehab centers to success seminars to colleges giving commencement addresses.
Plakatka, and then I've got Lynn.
Yes.
Okay.
Chris's commencement presentation to the graduating medical school. He's really imparting interest and enthusiasm into the people who are going to be the next generation. The impact of those few minutes that he's going to speak will be carried along with those individuals, for the rest of their life. And they won't realize the full impact of what he presents until Chris makes the announcement of his recovery.
Oddly enough, I don't get nervous before I make speeches. Since, breaking my neck and injuring my spinal cord and then nearly dying from an experimental drug, I really don't have too much to worry about. The worst that can happen is that you're not brilliant, but so what? I'm just going to go out there and say what I feel, hope it reaches people, and that's the best I can do.
He has also been a passionate advocate for stem cell research, a controversial issue, which we in the scientific community and the medical community believe in most strongly. Join me in welcoming Mr. Christopher Reeve.
So it's a real privilege for me to be here. I have a special, really a reverence for doctors I never thought I would have. We have doctors in our family. My sister-in-law was going through med school. We were all very excited because we thought there will be, free medical care. We thought, she's going to be perhaps a pediatrician. That'd be great. She decided to be a pathologist, and I said, I don't want to see you. Don't let me come your way. So I'm struggling to keep up my hope and the hope for patients like me, and the more people who come into the field with the mission of doing the best for their patients and realizing that religion is not to be confused with government policy, and we have to let scientists speak about science. Thank you so much for being willing to take the journey that you're taking and for doing that work. I applaud each and every one of you. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
There you
nice
go. And strong, nice and strong. Come on, almost there. A little more, that's it. A little more, a little more, a little more. There you go. Good. Good.
I've just decided, and I decided this quite a long time ago, is that I won't just listen to the rules. How many people are walking around and have been told by a doctor that, well, I'm sorry, you've got 6 months to live, and then they just go out and end up running a marathon or something.
Keep coming. Come on.
Oh, don't go in, go out. Really, in this condition, you just can't be bothered by limitations. And, if you buy into those limitations, they will limit you. Well, today is May 27, 2002. And it's a day with a double edge, actually, because it's the 7th anniversary of my accident. It's also an extraordinarily happy day because it's the day that Matthew is graduating. Here he is today with his cap and gown. No longer have to pay the incredible tuition, which is enough to bankrupt you. And he's about to make his own way in the world.
Just thinking about Dad's accident, 7 years it's bizarre. I know today's I think it's going to take a week to sort of process everything that's going on today. Here I am. That was school. It's done, finished.
Matthew Exton Reeve.
You can have this.
May 27th is having less and less power over me. In the first few years, it was, it was like I would crash again. Emotionally on May 27th, I'd relive every moment. It was 9:01 when I went into the dressage ring, and it was 3:01 in the afternoon when I set out on the cross-country course. And I used to even stop and mark those moments of time. But today, it just seemed in the distant past because the present is just so exciting and so fulfilling. Here he is.
How's it going?
Oh, looking cool.
Sorry.
There's Men in Black, too.
Yeah, exactly.
You just graduated. Oh, one tiny. Ooh.
That doesn't count.
There it is. It's official.
A ban on human cloning was dealt a major setback this week when the Senate Majority Leader balked at some parliamentary maneuvering and refused to bring the bill up for a vote. Now those who want to outlaw cloning say they'll have to find another way to pass the ban.
It's frustrating that political maneuvering is slowing down research, but at least we've helped to stop this bill which would have banned therapeutic cloning.
Outside of that debate, we're joined by actor and activist Christopher Reeve in New York. Thanks for being with us, Mr. Reeve.
Sure, hi, Cookie.
In
the meantime, our lives go on. My daughter Alexandra just passed her driving test. Oh, way to go! Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how hair-raising was it? For you or for them?
It was 5 minutes. I drove it on square. It was unbelievable.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was like a block.
That's great. Easy for her, but I'm turning 50. If I'd been on my feet when I was turning 50, that might have been really depressing. But every day I'm surrounded by people who love me, who support me, believe in me, and don't put any limitations on how far I can go. Although I'm still not allowed down to the mailbox by myself. But with all that, the number 50 really doesn't scare me. With all those gifts, I don't even feel like I need a party.
You think I didn't deserve it? We're laughing a lot. I suddenly realized you think I just flaunted it.
But there are a lot of challenges coming up next year. I'm going to work really hard to get off the vent. I'll direct a movie in the spring. We're going to keep raising money to fund cutting-edge research. In fact, there are human trials going on right now all around the world. And some scientists are testing drugs that will cause regeneration even in people with chronic injuries like mine. But the key to the future, not only for me, but millions of others who suffer from all kinds of conditions, is going to be pushing politics and economics aside so that science can succeed.
The title, it promises to send comic book geeks and merchandise mad marketers into giggly fits of glee. Batman versus Superman.
Hey, one flies and is only vulnerable to kryptonite, and the other guy only has a cool car. It's just no contest.
See, why aren't they working together?
People often say that, well, in the old days he played Superman, now he is Superman. Well, I don't know about that. I try to emphasize that what I do, it's based on powers that we all have inside us. The ability to endure, the ability to love, the ability, to carry on, the ability to make the best of it is something we can all find. And you don't have to be, a Superman to do it.